The night air was sharp and biting, a cold wind sweeping down from the mountains and through the trees. Iktomi shivered as he sat alone by the dying embers of his small fire. He pulled his thin cloak tighter around his shoulders, but it did little to ward off the chill that seeped into his bones. As the wind howled through the dark forest, Iktomi's thoughts turned to the star quilt that had once brought him warmth and comfort. It had been a gift from the tribe, given to him during a rare moment of acceptance. The quilt was a work of art, its intricate patterns and bright colors representing the stars in the night sky, each stitch a symbol of the tribe's history and unity. Iktomi had marveled at its beauty, feeling for the first time that he might truly belong. But now, as he shivered in the cold, he realized with a sinking heart that the quilt was gone. He couldn't remember the last time he had seen it, and his mind raced as he tried to recall what had happened to it. And then it came back to him, a memory blurred by the fever that had gripped him not long ago. He had been so sick, his body burning with heat, his mind swirling with feverish visions. Strange shapes and shadows had danced before his eyes, twisting and writhing in the darkness. In his delirium, he had been terrified, unable to tell what was real and what was not. He remembered clutching the star quilt to his chest, hoping it would protect him from the horrors that seemed to close in around him. But as the visions grew more intense, more terrifying, he had panicked. In his fear, he had thrown the quilt at the shadows, as if the warmth and beauty of it could banish the nightmares from his mind. And then he had run, stumbling through the trees, his fevered mind driving him away from the visions that pursued him. He had no memory of how far he had run or how long he had wandered, but when he finally collapsed in exhaustion, the quilt was no longer with him. Now, sitting by the fire with the cold gnawing at him, Iktomi felt a deep sense of loss. The quilt had been more than just a source of warmth. It had been a symbol of the tribe's acceptance, a connection to something larger than himself. And he had lost it, not through trickery or mischief, but through fear, fear that had driven him to cast away something precious. He curled up tighter, his thoughts bitter and filled with regret. Without the quilt, the cold seemed all the more relentless, a reminder of the distance that still lay between him and the tribe. How could he ever hope to be accepted when he had let something so important slip away? The stars above, those that the quilt had so beautifully represented, seemed distant and indifferent, their light cold and far away. Iktomi closed his eyes, wishing he could go back, wishing he could have held on to the quilt and the connection it represented. But it was gone, and with it, a piece of the hope he had been clinging to. As the fire finally flickered out, leaving him in darkness, Iktomi knew he would have to find another way to keep warm, another way to fill the emptiness that the loss of the quilt had left behind. But for now, all he could do was endure the cold and the loneliness that came with it.